Hello, everybody. You're listening to Alternative Revelations with Linda Emanuel. And this is podcast number 150. And if this resonates with you, so be it. If not, just disregard it. And I just want to bring up some points. Everybody, the times we're going through, you have to question everything, okay? People are starting to panic. There's no reason to panic. We're all in God's hands. And if you're listening to these podcasts, you're going to be safe. God is going to take you by the hand. You will be safe. You will know what to do if this comes down. MOSH, all the behind the scenes are working on stopping this. God does not want this Holocaust to happen. Okay, MOSH is asking you. I want you to question everything. Even me and MOSH. Wait for the sign. Wait for the sign. I'm sticking my neck out here. I have no idea what he told me. I didn't make that up. So this sign, when this bacteria, the brucellosis bacteria, they have an outbreak of a mysterious illness, chronic fatigue, flu-like symptoms, you are going to know MOSH is real. And then you can believe what I say. And then still use discernment. If it doesn't resonate with you, disregard it. I'm asking you to do that. Please do not panic. Everything is going to be fine. If you're listening to my podcast, you're going to be fine, okay? I don't want people to panic. We're going to get through this. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of background about MOSH, how he came to me. Now, there were two people, on the whole earth. We're going to step forward. And one of them was a scientist who was credible, who was an authority, who probably had a PhD. Who knows? I don't know his background. He was going to come out with this information. But the Jesuits threatened his life. And he backed out. Now, MOSH told me he was going to work with him. Now, this guy wasn't, I don't know, what metaphysical, where he could communicate with MOSH. Spirit can put ideas into your head, and you don't even know it. And MOSH was supposedly going to work with him. And when this guy backed off, which is totally okay with God, God will never ask you to put your life on the line. It is your choice. Your choice always. God will never put you in a danger zone. Only if you volunteer. And I do that a lot. And seems like I do that a lot. So I was plan B. And MOSH had been watching me. He wasn't really quite with me in February and March and April. He knew what I was going through with New York and all these people dying. It got me sick. I was sick for 2 months watching these people. I knew they were suffering. And I knew of a nurse practitioner who lived out in Wentzville, Missouri, who was in the National Guard, and she got deployed to Queens, and she had no clue. She was of the herd, and she was FaceTiming back that she was sitting in a room in a Queens hospital with 160 gurneys touching each other, and everybody was dying and couldn't breathe, and they wouldn't give them oxygen. They were only giving them ventilators. They were killing them, and I knew exactly what was going on. And she said they were stacking bodies up like bricks out in the hallway, not on gurneys. They were stacking them up like firewood and taking them out. And I don't know, I can't tell you what they did with them from them, because I would be just speculating. This was so traumatizing to me that they were doing this to Queens. And I didn't know about the frequency then. What kind of frequency? I thought it was 60 gigahertz. I didn't know. I didn't know what they were doing in Queens. I thought the whole city of New York was under attack, okay? I didn't know that it was only Queens targeted, and they were testing the waters. So MOSH had been watching me, or watching me. And then I decided, I'm single. My son's 39. I disowned my family. I decided to cross the line. I was going to work. I was going to give my life. If it took my life, if they killed me, fine. I wasn't going to shut up. I was going to keep going forward. And it was around the last week in July. And that's when I started getting all this information. And MOSH made contact with me. And it's been, the rest of the story, I was plan B. I have no credibility. I have no authority. I have no PhD. But I have the heart and the determination to not back down, even if it would cost me my life. I wasn't going to back down. I went forward. I crossed the line. And I didn't care. I was sort of giving some things away just little things to my granddaughter, for like family keepsakes that I wanted her to have if I wasn't around. I asked my girlfriend Joanne if she would watch over my son, and she goes, "What's going on here, Linda? What did you do?" And I said, "Joanne, I crossed the line." And I didn't want to tell her. And she goes, "What did you do? What did you do?" She's likes to be in the background, and I'm kind of like, I'll go right out there and fight the beast. So she was very upset with me, and I said, "I don't care. They told me I'm going to live about a year, less than a year, and I don't care. I'm going out with it. I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going to do everything I can." And I'm just a person on a podcast and a website and a YouTube, okay? So then, I'd say, I don't know, about the beginning of July, I had emailed Michael Deacon. And I asked him, I'd like to be on your show. And he emailed back and he said, "Okay, can you do Saturday?" And I go, "Okay." Well, he never called me. And I kept emailing him and no response. And I go, "Well, it wasn't meant to be." And I let it go. Because that's the way I am. I say, well, God doesn't want it to happen. So then MOSH just told me that I said, "Did the Jesuits know about me?" And anyway, the Jesuits aren't paying attention to me because I talk about such off-the-wall things not normal people will understand. And maybe that's saving my life because they say nobody's going to believe her. And they let me go. But right now, MOSH told me they have like a shield over me of light, and they're not even seeing me. They can't see me. Now, Michael Deacon, he's being protected because they want him to come out with all this information. And also Niche is being protected. And we got to get this information out. Now, wait till the sign, okay? MOSH is asking, I don't know if I already said this. MOSH is asking you, question everything. There's so much confusion out there. So many different things are coming at us. Our brains just can't handle it. We don't know what to believe and what not to believe. We have a president that people are saying, he's going to save us. And then there's others that, like me, that are saying you can't trust him. So you got to use your own you got to, whatever resonates with you. So MOSH is asking, wait for the sign in the first week in September. I didn't know anything about the Nestle thing. I didn't make it up. He told me, and he said, this will be the way people will know they're in the kill zone and they can protect themselves. He's given you how to do it. So please don't be afraid. I asked him today if we could do some grids on these big cities like Dallas, Fort Worth area, the Phoenix, and Chicago. Chicago I'm a little bit concerned about because it's such a big grid, I'm going to podcast as long as I can, as long as I have internet and cell phone, because this is another important thing. They're going to cut off our cell phones he said, around October 15th. It could be a week or two earlier. It could be a week or two later, okay? And between like the lockdown and when they cut off our phones, you're going to have access to your phone and your internet. And you really need to warn people and just give them the information. And then you got to walk away because there's going to be people who aren't going to believe you. So MOSH is asking, wait for the sign. Make your decision when the new pandemic breaks out and they lock us down. Then make your decision whether you want to believe that MOSH, real. So let's see what else he's given me. Now, this is interesting. The nucleus of this, this is all going to be remotely controlled, these smart meters and the towers. And the control center is in the city of London, the Crown Temple, I guess that's what they call it. And there's 6 satellites out in the outer space, is that what you call it, that are going to be directing this 5G holocaust. Now, there's two entities that can stop this. One is the military. They can knock out those satellites. And the other one is our electric companies. They can just shut off the power. They can't operate these towers without power from the electric companies. So and behind this whole thing are the Vatican, are the Jesuits and the Rothschilds. They're the ones that are spearheading this. And it's being spearheaded out of London, England. Okay, let's see what else he said. Now, MOSH is also advising, this is him. He's advising you have 2 months, opt out of the smart meter if you can. get a regular meter put on your house. It might cost you a little bit more to get it read, but it will save your life. What else did he say here? Can't even read my own handwriting. Well, that's about wraps it up, I think. I think I already mentioned this. Oh, yeah, I mentioned that already. So, please don't panic and feel like you're in the arms of the angels and God's protecting you, okay? If you're listening to this and you watch for the sign, then you know it is a sign that MOSH is from the Galactic Center. He's an ascended master. He's here to help us. I mean, I'm just a person just like you are. I crossed the line and said, I don't care if I die. I'm getting out with this stuff. And Michael Deacon, he I don't know if he knows. He doesn't know what I just told you about him. He's being protected too. He's got a shield over him. He's going to be used to help to get the information out. Not used. He's going to be, I'm sure he's going to be willing to help. And Niche is she's 100% behind this to get people informed and not to panic people. Deborah Tavares, I love listen to Deborah Tavares, but to me, she just invokes fear and panic. And bless her heart, she is serving the people. She's giving them information. But you have to really, don't panic. God's got it under control always. We just got to get through this. Hopefully, Mosh said we can stop it in 2 months if enough people rise up, and if these idiots in Washington D.C. realize that they're going to be thrown under the bus, they may turn against the Jesuits. So I'm going to give you a little history. Our forefathers, the original settlers of America, came over here for religious freedom, because the Vatican, the Catholic religion, really wasn't Christian. And they killed so many people just for owning a Bible, just for people wanting to read God's Word. They were burned at the stake. They were inquisitioned. It was against the law to own a Bible. And there were people like Gutenberg, I don't know what his name was. These Tinzels, all these people came out with the Bible, and they suffered terribly just to get the word out to people. Martin Luther, people like that. And the Jesuits in the Vatican just tortured and killed the heretics who were the Protestants. And these people came over to America to get freedom from religion, freedom to practice the religion of their choice. And in the very early days of our country, before it was made into a republic, it was not allowed to practice Catholicism in America before we became a country of our own. They didn't allow it because these people, our forefathers, knew what the Catholic religion represented. So what needs to happen is, when this is all said and done and people are aware of what's going, we need to tear every single Jesuit institution down and make these people leave the country or hold them accountable for what they are doing. They assassinated President Lincoln. They assassinated so many presidents who stood up against them that we don't even know about. They were killed, and they said, oh, they had a heart attack. Oh, they had a stroke. No, most of them were murdered when they were in office. And it was the Jesuits. And we need to kick them out of this country. And we need to go back to the soil. We need to go back to the land, the law of the land, where each country has their own laws and abide by God's laws. And these politicians, they need to be held accountable. These politicians, when I talked on Michael Deacon's show, I was very mad. And, when they condemned us by signing that 5G and beyond law, when they were condemning us to death, they actually condemned themselves. That's what's going on. These people will get karma, what they are putting out. And there will be justice. These people are not going to get away with it. Just like in New York, these people who were running New York, who were the bureaucrats, they knew full well what they did to Queens. And they have to answer for 30,000 deaths in Queens for what they did to those innocent people that died of suffocation. And they wouldn't give them oxygen, put them on a ventilator and killed them. Just kind of tranquilized them and let them die. You know, we need to, when this gets all said and done, and it will, we need to get our country back. We need to get it back to the God's law. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be a Muslim. You should be able to practice whatever religion you do. Do no harm. Now, if you're going to sacrifice babies and rape children, yes, that's wrong. That's not something God would allow. So we have to have morals. We have to get our morals back. We have to really get rid of porno. We have to get rid of all this nasty stuff that's poisoning our children's minds. We have to get back to the morality. We have to get that back. We have to get these men back to where they're head of family. And that doesn't mean they're the dictator. They have to be the head of the family. These men have to take responsibility. When you father a child, you take responsibility. Same way with the mother. You have a child, you take responsibility. Shouldn't be preaching to people like that, but that's how I feel. I really feel passionate. When I see a young couple, that she gets pregnant and he marries her, I think, wow, what a man, to own up to his responsibility, to taking care of that child. Because, when you have a child, the father, if the father is not around, the mother is, they're shooting out, the mother and father of that unborn child are sending out hormones to each other. And the man is bonding with her. And when that baby's born, that man is shooting out hormones, and that mother's shooting out hormones. And that man bonds with that baby. And when you have out of wedlock babies and the father's not around, that baby's left unprotected. There's no man to protect that baby. Just like lions will go in and kill all the cubs in a pride because they want that female to go back into heat. But those cubs mean nothing to him. But he will die to protect his cubs because he knows he's hormonally bound to those baby cubs, to those cubs. Same way with a stallion. He knows he's bonded hormonally with his offspring. He will protect them with his life. And when men don't take responsibility and aren't around with their children, there's nobody left to protect them. So when I see men and women getting married and raising a family, that is just really cool, I think. In the old days, we all got married and had children. Now it seems like everybody's just having children here and there, and nobody's taking responsibility. We have to take responsibility for what we do. Even I do, I try to. And I'm answerable for what I say and do. And I have to forgive myself, for things I've done. It's the hardest, I've said in the other podcast, that the hardest thing you can do is forgive yourself for what you've done to others. So, just hang in there and be at peace and know that you're going to be safe, that MOSH is going to come through, that our souls are working on the other side, trying to stop this. And Michael Deacon might not even realize that they're working through him, and he's got a shield over him. They're protecting him and protecting Niche. And they're protecting me. The Jesuits aren't paying attention to me. Anyway, they think whoever listens to her, they're not going to listen to her. She's crazy. They're going to think she's crazy. So maybe that's protecting my life, the way I am. Because if something resonates with people, if they're supposed to believe it, they'll believe it. Just like, remember I was telling you about the guy that was at the mass meeting, and I said to him, people need to know about this information. And he said to me, we're doing this mask thing. We're going out and demonstrating and telling people how dangerous the masks are. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like getting kicked in the head, And MOSH said, leave him alone. He's not meant to hear it. He's decided in spirit to be one of the ones that go. Now, maybe that won't happen, okay? But if it does happen, he's volunteered to be one of the sacrifices to cause people to wake up. And I'm telling you what, it is going to take something monstrous event for American people to wake up. It's the only way these people are going to wake up. And I don't want it to be I don't want them to be woke up by the 5G. If there was only some way that people could wake up without having to go through a horrific event. Because that's what usually happens. So I vented, I'm really sorry about kind of spouting off, but that's the way things are. We use discernment, question, because a lot of the Jesuits, they've infiltrated these organizations that are of the light that have good intentions. That's their strategy. They infiltrate and take over. So question everything and just trust your instinct, trust your intuition, whether to believe something or not. And if it's your truth, fine. Live with it and take responsibility for it. So until next time, good night and God bless.